The zoo, I don't know how I feel about the zoo. I've seen animals I would have never laid eyes on outside of a screen had it not been for zoos. And I know that they keep species alive. They help breeding and stuff like that, but I don't know. There's something about the captivity of non-domesticated animals. Like this guy, you turn him loose on the street, his little deformed legs and stuff, like a basset hound and a pit bull have no business creating this guy right here. But a lion in a cage, a lion?
I don't know. Well, like that time that we went to that small zoo and they had like 3 tigers and it was like not enough space. Like I'm pretty sure they had like water buffaloes and the water buffaloes had more room than the tigers.
Which they roam and all this, but just these humongous animals like whales.
Oh,
at
I know.
SeaWorld and stuff.
0% chance I would ever go. After I watched Blackfish, I was like,
Yeah, so there are a lot of things when it comes to zoos and just wild animals in captivity that is kind of like
you're paying money to witness something awful.
I even feel bad about Godzilla, our bearded dragon.
Really?
She lives in a tank, and I know like the chance for her, I guess, to hack it out in the wild is not very great.
No, they don't live very long, I don't think, outside. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's different.
Let's fly to Australia and just leave her out there.
Just drop her off 30 seconds later.
Oh no.
You know, she's gone. But
yeah,
with Shorty, it's all good. Like, I know he's happy here.
Yeah.
The door will be wide open. He'll run to the end of it and bark at somebody, but he don't want to go nowhere.
He doesn't. Well, if we're leaving, he wants to.
Right, but
he follows us everywhere.
A large majority of the time, he's just trying to chill. Mm-hmm. Even our cat, it strolls around. It's outside a lot, and then it just knows where its bounds are.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about that.
No.
But, you know, wildlife, it's just so odd, and you can feel, it feels wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so
I agree.
Casual Geographic has a video. It's called Animal Secrets Zoos Don't Want You to Know. I'm very interested to see what he's got to say.
That it's positive.
Oh, no.
I'm hoping that it's positive, and it's just fun things that we don't know, like maybe how their food is made or something.
I think he's
like
about
that.
to take us to church. Sometimes it's fire and brimstone.
I'm tired of it, Grandpa.
Sweat dripping off your brow.
Oh, all right.
Are you ready?
Inspired by Reddit. All right.
That could be really bad or really good. What is it? Inspired by Reddit. Filmed for TikTok. Ported to YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
We've got the trifecta going on.
Animal facts that zookeepers might not want to tell you. Zebras are one of the most responsible for injuries to zookeepers because they're wildly unpredictable and overall assholes. Life can really go from 0 to kicked in the chest if you're around one. And the hand-reared ones are the worst because people think they're wild horses when really they're demon donkeys that'll crack your ribs and bite off your hand unprovoked. In a place with lions, bears, and gators, your biggest op could be a pissed-off Oreo horse. If you work with foxes, your social life will suffer. Not only do they smell horrible, but the smell of fox pee sticks to hair, clothes, and skin and lasts weeks, no matter how hard or long you scrub. Getting R. Kelly by a fox is a great way to make people avoid you like the real one. Rhinos are the world's biggest and most dangerous puppies. White rhinos will eat out of your hand and they love being scratched, and for a 5,000-pound armored truck with legs, they have the personality of a Labrador. With ducks, you never want to have more males than females. As a rule, you need 4 to 6 males for every female, because if you don't, the males will get aggressive and jump the female. I couldn't find the TikTok, but basically she was saying a female duck lost her eye because during a particularly violent session, one of the males got impatient and ripped her eyeball out. And since it usually happens in water, multiple males could possibly drown the female. If it is in water, they could break her bones. Animal secrets zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 2. Anteaters are way meaner than they get credit for, and sometimes they'll just snap and take a life for no reason. Like, even jaguars would hesitate to attack them because they're really only one swing away from being a memory. One anteater mauled a zookeeper so badly that she had severe liver, stomach, and lung damage.
Oh
and
my
she died.
God.
You watch your back if you're in his hood. Tortoises are jaw-droppingly stupid. If you leave a bucket around them, they will 100% try to make babies with it, and they'll even give the treatment to an extra curvy boulder. Orangutans are evil pickpocketing geniuses that'll steal items of importance and only return them in exchange for food. Sometimes they'll even break up the object and hand it back piece by piece in order to extort more food, which is unfortunate if they steal your phone, and even worse if they steal an animal like an opossum.
God.
It's happened. This isn't a secret, but if you've ever seen a zookeeper cleaning an enclosure and you jokingly said something like, "I wonder what animal that is," I can guarantee you that day you got silently cursed out in ways you didn't even know possible. Giraffes can seriously mess you up out of nowhere. Males fight for females by necking, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Sometimes they'll take a swing at keepers not paying attention just to be a dick, and if they connect, they will send you flying. The one day they're not nice is the day someone gets put on CN. Animal facts zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 3. Koalas are teddy bears with the personality of a chainsaw, and if you have to carry an animal out of its enclosure, you'd have an easier time manhandling a crocodile. They claw, they bite, and they are dicks to other animals. Every time a keeper picks one up, their health insurance goes up. Aquariums will have captive breeding programs for dolphins, but since they're difficult to transport for mating, they'll use artificial insemination. Meaning someone gets paid to give Flipper a happy ending and collect the baby maker, and the dolphins are so smart they'll recognize whose job it is, and when they see them, they'll roll over and present themselves. If you irritate a member of the Camelidae family, like llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and of course camels, they don't just spit on you. Zookeepers just say it's spit so you don't totally freak out. What they actually do is regurgitate the contents of their stomach, mix it with saliva, and launch it in the face of whoever's annoying them. Piss one off and they'll basically projectile vomit half-eaten grass all over you and dare you to do something about it. Out of all the raptors, turkey vultures are one of the most affectionate, and they'll form strong emotional bonds with their keepers. They'll follow their favorite around, greet them when they enter the enclosure, and even play with their socks and shoes. If you ignore the fact that they smell like an open casket in July, they're actually pretty cool. Animal fact zookeepers might not want to tell you. Meerkats are the spawn of Satan, and they conduct themselves as such. If you know anyone who's ever worked with meerkats, ask them to show you the scars. I guarantee you they have them. They are, no exaggeration, the most homicidal mammals on the planet that aren't humans. If a zoo announces the death of one of their meerkats and they say it was due to natural causes, it's way more likely that one just straight up murdered another. They're also one of the worst animals for first-time zookeepers because if nobody warns them, they'll think they're cute and cuddly and try to feed them by hand. And that is exactly how you go to bed with less fingers than you woke up with. Most keepers understand their animals so well that they have no problem being in the same enclosure as tigers, leopards, and bears. But there's one animal that seems to universally scare everyone. Ironically, cassowaries are shy and introverted in nature, but during breeding season, sometimes these hell turkeys decide to catch a body. They are one of the most dangerously unpredictable animals you'll ever be around. Most zoos won't even let workers inside cassowary exhibits without at least 2 others keeping watch. And they often go in with an attack shield in case this Satan Tweety gets ideas. Orangutans are smart enough to get people fired. In Omaha Zoo in Nebraska, zookeepers kept forgetting to lock the orangutan exhibit, and when they would get there in the morning, 5 males would be posted outside. The head keeper got on his staff for being careless, but after this happened several more times, he was ready to put someone on unemployment. But it turned out one of the males named Fu Manchu found a piece of wire and hid it between his lips and gums, and when nobody was looking, he used it to pick the lock of his enclosure, and then he proceeded to free all of his friends. It took zookeepers over a week and the threat of being fired to figure it out. Cougars are the biggest pushover of any cat. They're naturally afraid of people, but when comfortable, they'll seek out head scratches and belly rubs all while purring. They're basically giant house cats that could turn you into a headline if they wanted to. Secret zoos might not want you to know. Every zoo has a group of animals that are so dangerous they're kill on sight, meaning if they escape their enclosure or attack somebody, zookeepers are taught to take them out immediately. And surprisingly, a lot of big cats like lions and tigers are on KOS because they would rather tranquilize and capture them. Even silverbacks are tranquilized first, but there's one animal that's kill on sight in basically every zoo. Chimpanzees, because not only are they homicidal maniacs and incredibly fast and strong, tranquilizers only piss them off. By the time it kicks in, they could have already chewed someone's face off. If one escapes, somebody has to die, and it's usually the chimp. Sloths can be incredibly vicious. They look innocent, but those jaws can inflict nasty injuries on animals and people. Tamarin was once harassing a 3-toed sloth, which everyone thought was cute until the sloth clamped its jaws around the monkey's face. By the time keepers broke it up, the monkey had an eyeball hanging out of its socket, and the sloth was covered in blood that wasn't his. Tortoises are dicks for no reason. Sometimes if you go in their enclosure, they'll block off the exit by sitting in front of it. And since the Aldabra tortoise can be 500 pounds and stubborn, you're not going anywhere. A lot of zoos have to rent pandas for $1 million a year, and it takes another $500,000 to feed them, which doesn't even include medical and enrichment costs. It can literally single-handedly bankrupt zoos. Might not want to tell you, part 6. A lot of animals in captivity become much worse parents because honestly, zoo animals are just worse at being animals. In the wild, a mother may reject her baby due to drought or sickness. Zoo animals can reject them purely off vibes. Zoo animals also respond way worse to stress, and when a military jet flew over a Sweden zoo, the animals got so stressed and so pressed they proceeded to tear apart and eat 23 of their babies. It was not pretty. Zoos don't buy or sell animals from each other, instead they trade like cards. For example, if you think you would like this bighorn puppy, it'd probably cost you about 20 penguins. 2 lion cubs could set you back 1 grand zebra, and if you have more baby giraffes than you can handle, you could trade them in for a Burmese python, a red-tailed hawk, and a miniature pig. Most zoos are strongly against putting price tags on animals because it can encourage poaching. Except these guys, these bastards are too expensive to trade. Animal escapes are pretty rare, but when a major one happens, everyone basically readjusts their fences and enclosures. Kinda like how in class everybody will change their answers if one kid gets it wrong. A lot of zoos had to readjust their tiger enclosure because 3 idiots decided to taunt one and that tiger proceeded to yeet itself over a wall. Can't blame the tiger though, sometimes natural selection comes with a free meal. Things zookeepers might not want want to tell you. You probably shouldn't work with your favorite animal for the same reason you shouldn't share an apartment with your best friend. After 1 week, it'll change everything you thought you knew about them. You like penguins? They smell like Satan's locker and snap and bite at your shins every time you feed them. You like tigers? Tiger poop is one of the worst smelling things you'll ever live through. You like elephants? Give one an enema and I swear next day you'll be at unemployment. If you work with your favorite animal, you'll have a new favorite by lunch. Being a zookeeper isn't just playing with animals all day. It's incredibly difficult and ridiculously demanding. They work well over 40 hours a week and often have to sleep at zoos just so they can respond to any emergencies. You go through years of training, applications, and hours of interning, all for a starting salary of about less than $30,000. And when you take that much for that little, you're a different breed. But they're so dedicated to the animals that it's worth it. But if you personally know a zookeeper, tell them you appreciate them. Lord knows they don't hear it enough. Out of all the animals, the most dangerous and the ones zookeepers hate working with the most are the ones outside the cage. No other animal causes more migraines or higher blood pressure than a hairless primate armed with an iPhone and a sense of entitlement. Most zookeepers agree if you kept the animals and banned the people, zoos would be 10 times more fun, and I don't blame them for thinking that. Animal facts you definitely wouldn't know unless you worked at a zoo. Walruses are really talented at baiting. In fact, you could say they're master baiters. They do it a lot. You're probably wondering how a walrus does this. Well, there's two options. One, they slap themselves with their flippers, or two, they're flexible enough to self-service themselves with their mouth. And if you've seen a walrus, you've probably seen one do this. Bonobos will go out of their way to wait until they have a crowd of people around them and then start spontaneously having in front of the audience. They do it on purpose. I don't know why, but literally the more people around, the more likely they are to ruin the innocence of any child watching. Tigers can't purr, so to show affection, they'll do the same slow blink that your cat does to tell you he loves you. Tigers share 95% of their DNA with domestic cats, which makes sense because they're basically house cats on steroids. They'll cuddle up to their favorite keepers, play hide and seek with them, and of course give them that famous love blink. Tigers are soft. A lot of animals get lonely during the winter because there's less visitors and they're used to seeing people. This usually happens with higher intelligence animals like elephants, primates, and parrots like the African gray. During COVID, one zoo brought painters into the monkey house just so the monkeys would feel less alone. One Japanese zoo asked people to FaceTime the eels just so they wouldn't forget about people. Top 3 dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and no, number 1 is not what you think it is. In 2009, a woman decided to take a flash pass to Jesus by jumping into the polar bear exhibit in a Berlin zoo. She proceeded to get mauled by 4 of the biggest carnivores on the planet. At one point, zookeepers were able to pull her out of the pool, but of course she fell right back in. She also did this during the polar bear's feeding time. Apparently she lost her teaching job and was so depressed that she decided to factory reset her life one of the worst ways possible, and zookeepers were actually seconds away from shooting the bears just to save her. Luckily she and the polar bears lived. In 2007 in San Francisco, 3 dumbasses who will not be named decided to taunt Tatiana the Siberian tiger just to see what would happen. What happened was she decided to make the census 3 names lighter. Motivated by malice, Tatiana jumped over a nearly 13-foot wall and violated all 3, murking one and severely injuring the other 2. And what's true today was true back then. If you're young and dumb, you will get paid, and after getting sued, the zoo had to pay a $900,000 stupid tax to the brothers. Number 1 isn't actually this. Because in 2012, a mother lifted her son over a railing to get a better look at the animals. He then dropped the 2-year-old into the African wild dog exhibit. He survived the fall, but not the dogs. And if you know how African wild dogs hunt prey, you know this was very bad. On top of all that, the mother sued the Pittsburgh Zoo for negligence. Yeah. Obviously the victim here is the little boy because nobody deserves that, but yeah, the railing's there for a fucking reason. 3 more of the dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and number 1 will make you feel some type of way. In 2017, a man decided he didn't want to pay the price of admission to get into a zoo and instead scaled a 10-foot wall to get in. And best believe a price was paid, because my man's ended up in the living room of 3 of the biggest big cats on the planet. The man was brutally mauled in front of horrified guests, and I like to think the last thing that went through his head, other than, you know, the tiger's teeth, was if it was really worth it. You can't put a price on life, but this man gambled his entire way of being over $19. Also, one of the tigers died over his stupidity. At number 2, you probably know exactly where this is going. Another dumbass who will not be named was a regular at a Netherlands zoo, and she had a habit of smiling at the gorillas and making eye contact, even though trained zookeepers told her not to. She ignored them and said that she had a special bond with the gorillas since they always smiled back. Basically, she pulled a, "Trust me, I know him, he'll listen to me. Remember what we talked about, this isn't you." Yeah, she played pick me with a 400-pound gorilla, and one day Bakito woke up and chose Miralax because he wasn't taking no shit. Bakito escaped, beat the woman like she stole something from him, and then broke into a restaurant. And number 1, in 1987 at Prospect Park Zoo in Brooklyn, a couple boys decided to climb into an exhibit and swim in a moat. Whose exhibit, you ask? Well, originally they planned on swimming in a sea lion pool, but somewhere along the line they decided they just didn't value their lives. They went into the polar bear den. What happened next was 2 900-pound murder bears proceeded to play tug-of-war with the 11-year-old's body. Police came and shot the bears, but the boy was already past tense. Did I mention this was all because of a dare? It was a tragic, senseless, avoidable death that never should have happened. May those polar bears rest in peace. As for the boy, he can rest in pieces.
Damn.
Why? Okay, this is wrong to say, but I'm going to anyway. I feel like I'm allowed to say it. So if you want to not be here anymore, don't put other people or animals' lives at stake for that. Why would you climb into a polar bear enclosure if you lost your job and you don't want to be here anymore? That is the worst way that you could possibly go out, I would imagine. One of the worst ways.
Well, how about this? Had to let Michael Jordan jump in there for a second. We only get one shot. There's no real reset button. You don't press the reset button. Well, some people believe you do, but a majority of people don't believe you do. You know, reincarnation may or may not be a thing, just like a lot of other things. But for the most part, why cause that shit for anybody? Don't cause no shit for yourself. There are few irreversible situations. Like you said, why bring zoo animals who are already locked up, can't go nowhere, people that are just out doing their damn thing, living their lives.
I didn't even think about that. Other people are gonna have to witness that.
Yeah. Well, we have a mutual friend who witnessed an event, and it caused him to go all out of sorts over pit bulls and stuff because he had witnessed somebody get attacked by a pit bull. You know, I just hate the fact that people kind of throw themselves into situations where they have to be saved at all costs, and that cost is an innocent animal's life.
Or you just trying to save a quick $19.
Oh, that was unfucking believable.
I mean, really, it's not very much to get into a zoo.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's definitely less than $50.
Yeah. The zebras. I am not surprised to learn that zebras are assholes. Let me tell y'all something.
For some reason, I
am scared of horses, okay?
Yeah.
I do not fuck with horses.
Me either.
I've been around them. I've seen a horse bite the fuck out of somebody's shoulder. Just standing there. Wasn't even doing anything. Was just close enough for the motherfucker to reach across the thing and bite him. And it wasn't like getting bit by a bear or anything, but it like fucked his shoulder up, like broke something in his shoulder, bruised it. It was purple and swollen. I have
so many cousins that kept horses, and there was one day my cousin came to school, and it happened to both sets of cousins, completely like different people. I forgot. And he came to school, and like this was shattered, and his eyeball was like swollen shut. It was all purple, and he had gotten behind a horse, feeding it or doing whatever, and it kicked him square right here, like a horseshoe you could see.
Lucky it didn't kill him.
And that happened to both of... I have two cousins that happened to. I had an incident when I was very young, like maybe like 4.
Yeah.
And my uncle kept horses. They were all riding and trying to show me like, oh, horses are cool, it's okay, whatever. And it bucked him, and I don't remember, in my brain he fell off, but it was like a big thing and everybody had to scatter. Fuck horses.
And the horse that they rode in on.
Yeah, for some reason I thought that he was talking about lines, and I was like, yeah, all checks out, makes sense. And I was like, no, that picture is not a line. Mm-hmm. That is a zebra.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And the orangutans, they are my favorite, dude. Yeah, hearing those stories about them tricking people and everything.
That's funny.
And then like
breaking it up.
One of my favorite old school memes was the orangutan is like had the oxygen mask on. It's laying there and it's like, please tell my wife I'm an orangutan.
Yeah, you show me that and I just don't.
It is so funny.
I don't get that one.
It is funny. Anyway, Casual Geographic dropping some knowledge on us, and his delivery is
on point as always.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate you blessing us with all this knowledge of animals. And you know, we will just watch the Jaden animation video as well, talking about animals, and I guess that's kind of a theme for us today.
That's totally cool.
I've been loving our creatures here, but Casual Geographic, young man blowing up on the scene. Y'all go give him some love. Mm-hmm. Go subscribe to his channel, like his videos, comment on this video, and let him know you appreciate what he's doing. I know that we do for sure. And if you enjoyed our video, you could always subscribe to our channel, give us a like on this video, and stick around for a while.
Yeah, you could comment some recommendations. You can do that below in the comments, or you can go to our Discord, which will be linked in the description, as well as this video.
That's right. And you're creating a new chat, right? For animal pictures, for
pets.
If you have any pets that you would like to show us, we would really like to see all those cute little critters that you've got running around hanging out, because we love them. Yeah, that'll be really cool to see all those guys and gals and creepy crawlies and fuzzy love bugs and all the good stuff you've got going on. So thanks for checking this out. But for this video, that's going to do it.
See you.
See ya.